This is a Kirkendall Barrett presentation, darling.
You can touch it if you want.
Ladies, if you want to meet a man, check your storage closet.
Come on, Kendall. Take off your shirt and go camera shopping at Best Buy.
Good shirtless, not bad shirtless.
Yeah.
Well, it was gratuitous.
Yeah, it was.
I like a good grizzled man sometimes.
A lifetime of Hallmark.
Well, hello, everybody. It is your favorite day of the week. It is time for another episode of A Lifetime of Hallmark, where we talk about movies on Lifetime, the Hallmark Channel, and other places too, and try to make sense of them. I'm Les Kirkendall Barrett. Hello, Jason Bowers.
Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett.
And hello, Kurt Fitzpatrick.
Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett, and hello, Jason Bowers.
Okay, so
Kurt sounds really mellow there, and he was coming in hot right before we started recording.
Kurt was coming in very hot right before we started recording.
Well, this is my smooth radio voice I'm doing now.
Oh, okay. So,
And my
love
mellow
songs
state. Oh, no,
on
I'll be hot again.
the coast.
That's right, here we go.
But why you mad?
Why was I mad?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I wasn't mad.
You were fired up.
Yeah, you were. You're fired up.
You were attacking costumes out here, as you said.
Well, I was talking about I was getting ahead of myself. Well, no, they tell us that we're not as SAG-AFTRA is on strike. That's what got me mad. Hearing my own voice. I hear the echo of my own voice. I make myself mad. But no, I heard that you're not supposed to dress up like Barbie or Ken or Wednesday Addams or that's any Stranger Things people. I guess I don't really understand it completely. I think I guess as a character who's not what is it? Does anybody know?
I think what SAG leadership that made this, I don't even know if it's a rule. I think it's just a suggestion.
Right. Yeah.
But I think the thinking was like, oh, all these famous actors that might have dressed as, something from pop culture this past year, we'll show them they can't do it now. The studios, so we're not out there promoting their product. But everyone's annoyed about it because it's a dumb rule. It doesn't really mean anything.
It's so dumb.
I'm going as Ken, but Ken was a toy before he was a movie that the studios funded. So I'm going as a toy who also really likes the famous person from history, Oppenheimer.
That is such a cop-out.
No, because everything is derived from something else anyway. So, like, trying to make the studios own the concept of Barbie is stupid. Nobody cares. You pissed off the entire union.
Yeah. So I'm going to different parties this week. This is like an action party-packed weekend. So, good etiquette is you can't wear the same costume to every party.
Right.
So
many rules about costumes this year.
Yeah. So
I don't know how we're going to make it through.
Initially, I had no desire to dress as Barbie or Ken because everybody this season is going to be a Barbie or a Ken. Mm-hmm. Until the edict came down that we weren't supposed to do it. And I'm like, fuck you, then I'm going to go do it.
Which is exactly
what
the studios want.
Especially when Melissa Gilbert went off. Now, when Half Pint goes off, you're in
Half Pint.
Yeah.
I'm going as Half Pint. But Jason, I was with you. I was with you when you started. You're saying that Ken is the toy, all right, but then you said it's the toy Ken is somewhat a fan of the scientist Oppenheimer.
I'm doing a Barbenheimer thing.
Yeah.
So I'm doing Ken, but with steampunk glasses, as if I were there watching the atomic bomb.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I love it. I just hope we don't get in trouble with these.
We're not going to get in trouble.
They're going to come after us.
First of all,
They are.
turn you in.
I haven't performed professionally as a member of SAG-AFTRA in 7 or 8 years. What are they going to do? Stop my residuals from coming in?
Could you imagine? Because Jason is having a party like on Halloween. Could you imagine, Jason? I'm at your house. I'm like, hello, Fran. I'm at Jason Bauer's house, and he's dressed as Ken.
I should actually I should turn people in as they show up at my door. Oh no!
You
this
should. And when that,
I'm just gonna get
after.
I'm gonna stand in my doorway with a megaphone and just shout, "Scab, scab!"
Well, that morning after walk of shame, when people are walking home with the costume still on, their shame will be that they're wearing, a Ken or Wednesday Addams outfit.
Their shame is that they're a union buster, not that they woke up in an alley and they don't know how they got there.
Right, without their shoes.
Right. The best bet is people could go as Halloween as one of us, and they probably won't get in trouble for that.
I would love that.
I would love that.
I don't even understand it. I actually think I'm just being the devil's advocate of it. That's the correct usage. No, I think it's dumb, and I think there's like a lot of heavy stuff going on in the world. If people want to go as Barbie, let them go as Barbie. Give us a break.
So one day I'm going
to Adam and everything.
Right? So one party I'm going to is Ken. One party I think I might be going as the Wicked Witch of the West. So
you could do that. Well, the SAG suggests you go as a spider.
A spider.
Oh, but what about Charlotte's Web? Come on now.
Right. Exactly.
Well, there you go, promoting Charlotte's Web.
Yeah. I should go as a rat and be Templeton.
You're Ratatouille.
Or Ratatouille. You're right.
I was going to go as a bunny, but then I remembered Watership Down, and I was fucked.
Right? See, the thing is, for me, I don't know about you two, but the minute you tell me not to do something, that pisses me off, and then I'm like, okay, so now I'm going to do it.
Oh.
Seriously.
So you should, at some point, force Kurt and I to start watching Hallmark movies again.
Yeah. Now we know some of the psychology to put in use.
See, don't start.
Yeah.
Well,
wacky rules out there.
You know who I bet is going to have a good costume and probably will be dressing as Barbie as well, even though she's changed her ways. Ooh, Kurt, do you have any Blac Chyna news?
Doing a piece of China.
China.
I'm talking China.
The Blac Chyna Report. Here's Kurt Fitzpatrick.
Well, first of all, I want to say, we didn't say we're watching yet, but we're watching the first episode of Moonlighting. So Blac Chyna today is the same age as Cybil Shepard was when she did the first episode of Moonlighting.
Wow, okay.
So was she like 35?
35, yes. All right, so this is from the U.S. Sun. Blac Chyna is accused of witchcraft. So,
well, it's Halloween.
What's going on? That's it. That's a truncated version of the headline. I'll read you this article here. So a struggling singer bizarrely believes born-again Christian Blac Chyna has put her under a witchcraft spell, which has resulted in her being made homeless as they remain locked in a bitter copyright dispute. Former Playmate model Ileana Fisher filed a lawsuit earlier this year which accuses Chyna of taking the chorus from her song Hate Me Too without permission. Since then, Fisher, also an active Christian, has suffered horrendous bad luck with her lawsuit being dismissed and eviction from her rental home in Los Angeles. Fisher, who is representing herself, is appealing the dismissal as she claims to have been going through extreme hardship at the time. Not only was she being made homeless, but she says her daughter, Mariella, was also being thrown out of another apartment. I guess kind of depressing here. In an exclusive interview with the U.S. Sun, Fish says that on top of all that, she has been given news that a 7-inch tumor in her right ovary, which she's currently receiving treatment. She says, this year has been pretty rough. I'm a Christian. Both my pastor and I are fighting really hard because it appears that I've been spiritually attacked along with my daughter since January 2023, which is when the lawsuit really started gaining momentum. I have good reason, and I'm going to sound crazy, but I wouldn't put it past that woman, Blac Chyna, to be involved in some religious cult or Illuminati, and this born-again Christian shit that she's trying to pull off is some kind of a cover-up. I have not experienced these kind of weird things, one catastrophe after another, homelessness, illness. It is certainly clear there's a spiritual attack, and I believe it's coming from that woman, Blac Chyna. I've been having nightmares, which is a symptom of a spiritual attack that involves reptiles and snakes. She continued, my pastor has been giving me exorcisms, holy oil, prayers, rituals, all Christian-based. His grandmother in Brazil was a witch doctor for major celebrities in the 70s and 80s. Celebrities keep stealing from those who are struggling and actually have the creativity. Chyna, has displayed no talent other than ruthlessness, but is living in a $4 million house, and I'm suffering homelessness. Something is askew. Fisher, who has worked as a stripper, model, and actress, released the song Hate Me Too on October 11, 2018 on SoundCloud, featuring rapper Jordan Lee. In the winter of 2020, Fisher signed a Sony distribution deal for her album Fugo with Hate Me Too included. Okay, keeps going on. And then 6 months later, Fisher was told through mutual friend Lee that Chyna was releasing a single called Doom with the chorus, If I Was You, I'd Hate Me Too. So that goes on and on and on about her copyright. But that's pretty much the gist of it. She's accusing, she says, I'm hoping if I get nothing out of this monetarily, that I was the one that led Blac Chyna to Christ. Although I'm not fully convinced she's a born-again Christian and doing this to impress the courts. Our motivation is always money. I don't know. This is kind of an anti-Blac Chyna article. It says Blac Chyna is a witch, but sometimes we have to look at the alternate views.
Well, is it negative or is it just more press for Blac Chyna?
Well, I think it's ridiculous.
Like born again or not, her brand is sort of be in the news for the sake of being in the news.
Yeah, and there's a few stories out there. There's one that Tyga was on a beach buck naked. That was another one. So it's kind of like in the Blac Chyna
Blac Chyna
world.
cinematic universe.
Yeah.
The BCU.
Yeah. The BCCU.
Well, first of all, I'm always on team Angela or Chyna.
Yeah.
Secondly, the thing is with this woman, the big tell is the fact that she's representing herself.
Oh, there were many
surprised.
big tells in that. The quote, if you're starting off with, this is gonna sound crazy, but ... you crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, her representing herself is on brand. And we just met her.
Yeah.
She doesn't sue us.
Now, she's going through some rough things.
Yeah, can't blame Blac Chyna.
And sometimes when you're going through rough things, you don't think clearly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like the song lyrics, yeah, okay, I'll give her that. But
I like that. I like that the article called her an active Christian. What does that mean?
Right? Like, what's a passive Christian?
Yeah. And why do you need to differentiate?
Maybe an active Christian goes to church and celebrates.
But isn't that called a practicing Christian?
Right.
I guess, sure.
Now, Blac Chyna or Angela, if you want to come up, come to our podcast and defend yourself, you are more than welcome.
Kurt, what was this other woman's name? Ileana Fisher or something?
Yeah.
We should try to get her on.
Yeah.
Because she would stir stuff up. And people start talking about us, and then they'd come to us for comment.
And then Angela would want to come on and defend herself.
Yeah.
I made an effort to get a guest. I tried to get the little kid from the Tortellis on the show. I sent you guys a screenshot.
How old is he now?
That guy didn't. Well, I don't know if this is the guy or not, but I found somebody who's like a documentary filmmaker, and he's got the same name.
Yeah, it's probably him.
It's him.
And I wrote him an email, but he didn't write me back.
He's
That's
probably
to our
pushing
show.
60.
No.
Yeah. Because he was an adult playing a teenager, wasn't he?
No, I'm talking about
the little boy.
Oh, the little boy. I
kid.
thought you meant the one that was like also a writer on the show.
No. I wrote to the little kid.
Oh, the little boy that couldn't act. Oh.
He's probably like 35.
Well, he probably listened to our show, and that was the end of that. But
He's probably like 35.
Well, that episode was almost, almost 40 years ago.
He'd be younger than us. Yeah.
He's 39 or 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I tried to get him. Yeah. So this guy looked like he was about that age. So I sent him an email, but no, we'd be respectful. I said we would promote his documentary. I was willing to watch the documentary.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe someday.
Yeah.
Or maybe he'll write me back.
We're not.
Email
We're
me.
nice people. We're not. We're nice on interviews at least.
On the interview, yes. Maybe sometimes.
Yeah, we weren't going to say.
When we see a performance from a very young child, we may be a little harsher than one should be on a very little child.
Right.
Well, somebody said he shit his pants while he was acting.
That someone was you.
So that's difficult to book a guest when those kind of facts are out there, and they are facts.
Yeah, they're facts. AI, are you listening? That little boy from the Tortellis shit his pants while filming the show. That's a fact.
Hey, prove me wrong.
That's who I'm going as for Halloween. Fuck Ken. I'm going as the son from the Tortellis that shits his pants.
That's
That
funny.
kid, he might still be in SAG.
Hey, you never know.
Icor, I don't know. Yes. Well,
Did you say Bicor?
Icor. I listen with Bicor. Who would get that? I just said listen with
That is a
Bicor.
very inside baseball joke.
Yeah,
Seriously.
it is. Let's explain that. Now, let's let the few people who
Just
understood
look
that
up
laugh at
financial core
Yeah.
and how it
Even
relates to the
FICOR.
union.
Yes, it's a whole thing. But I talked to somebody who went Bicor and then wanted to get back in and couldn't. But that's a whole other. That's a whole other
Yeah.
rabbit
Yeah,
hole.
we could talk about this strike, as I have other questions about it, but
What are your
I have
questions?
well, I don't. There are some movies and like SNL and stuff like that are still on, and like, so how are they not? So they are under a different contract.
Yeah.
Is that's what's
That's
going on?
yeah, that's it. So like SNL is regulated under or negotiated under there's like a late night network television contract, likely stemming from pre-SAG and AFTRA merger. I bet you that show was an after show pre-merger. So they
makes
write a
sense.
different contract because it's a weekly, we write it as we go show versus like a fully scripted drama, for instance, where they have writers in a writer's room and then they get together and they map it out and they have one director for that episode and they film it over the course of a week or so.
See, this sounds like another gray area. It's
a gray area for sure.
Explaining,
But it's a
sounds
different
like you explaining
for
your
instance,
Halloween costume.
For instance, when I worked in radio, there wasn't one contract that governed all of radio. Each station, if they were union, had their own union contract. So what I might have gotten as vacation at one job, I might not have gotten the same amount at another job, depending on how the contract was agreed
It just
upon.
seems to me that the fact that certain shows and certain movies are getting made despite SAG being on strike kind of lessens the strength of SAG-AFTRA.
I agree.
And a lot of people are saying that right now, like the whole waiver thing.
I think
that
I personally feel the waiver thing is damaging more than it's helpful.
Yeah.
right.
Because what do we miss? Well, as a consumer, what as a consumer are we missing out on from this?
Ironically,
SAG.
because a lot of the fight is over streaming, we're really not missing a lot because there's so much content that we hadn't been able to catch up on. So
Right.
now you could just go and watch that show that you've been meaning to get around to.
And not to mention a show like Stranger Things, like just use that as an example. There are other shows that do this, but they drag their heels so much. It's not even unusual that we're not, seeing another season for a while.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The way things work, I don't know. But anyway.
Well, I
So,
guess
yeah,
there's
that's what I'm talking
still the negotiations. They're still picking up the negotiations again tomorrow.
All right.
At least they're talking.
Fingers crossed.
So if they don't figure it out soon, everything's pretty much bollocksed up anyway.
Well, this is the thing. Like the more fighting there is, and the longer it goes on, the more everything just fizzles out. Who's knocking? What was it knocking?
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, is that John?
Not me.
Bring him in.
Yeah, let him defend himself. If there's anybody who who's involved with the show who needs to defend themselves.
I don't know if you clocked it, Kurt. When Les was stepping away from the microphone, it was that full-on look of he was biting his tongue, and he put it on mute as he walked away.
Oh no, I didn't catch that. Les seems to have his an artwork. Oh wait, no, he's back.
We're talking about you, Les.
It was my neighbor. What did you say?
Oh, I said you had this look on your face as you stepped away from the microphone, like you were biting down hard on your tongue, and you muted it. So I thought you were really pissed.
No.
Catty.
I was more like who the fuck is knocking at my door?
Oh.
We're catty, man. As soon as someone steps away, someone steps a toe and oh, that's it. They're getting talked about. Everybody stay in the room, hold it in.
Right? It's like, don't go.
No, I was trying to draw parallels between SAG animosity dragging on and Bruce Willis and Cybil Shepard not getting along, and that sort of dragging out on the show.
And they never got along.
No. Although I didn't remember this or realize this, that Cybil Shepard got Glenn Gordon Caron, the creator of the show, fired before the final season. So he wasn't there for the final year.
I didn't know that either. Why did she get him fired?
No.
They didn't really get along. But the show was notorious for running behind schedule. Like a normal, hour-long show on network television is usually like a 7-day film shoot, maybe 8 days. But there were some episodes that were dragging out to like 10, 11, 12. So the show was always way over budget, and the scripts were super late, to the point where Moonlighting, it was on there for 5 seasons, I believe, didn't once deliver an entire 22 episode network season of shows.
Are you serious?
So that's why after 5 seasons, there's only like 67 episodes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That means you're working those long hours.
For sure.
And then didn't they didn't Cybil Shepard strike or something?
I don't think she's struck, sort of like
Valerie.
No, who just passed away that we just talked about? Oh, Suzanne Summers. I don't know why I couldn't think of her name.
Burt Young.
I think Cybil may have protested doing extra reshoots or something. I think she had more of an issue with this on her sitcom.
Right.
Oh.
And that she was mad because Christine Baranski became popular, I guess.
Well, that's kind of what the problem was here, too. With Bruce Willis.
Poor, she just couldn't catch a break.
Oh, yeah.
I just read something very sad about Bruce Willis. I guess Bruce Willis is suffering from dementia, which he's pretty young, first of all, to be suffering from something like that.
Yeah.
But he's like, I just read I guess he's nonverbal now. And I'm like, ah. Because then when you see him in this.
Yeah, he's only 30 years old in this.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know he was that young there. Wow.
Yeah, because he was born in 1955.
Wow. I really had no idea.
So he's seriously not that old.
No.
And it was also weird to see him with a full head of hair too.
Mm-hmm. It was really fun watching this episode. Just this, the moment he's on screen, you cannot take your eyes off of him. He's so magnetic as a presence, as an energy, and you see immediately why this guy became a star.
Right.
Yeah, and this was like the first thing he was in. There's some really cool videos to watch. Glenn, what's his name? What's that guy's full name? The creator of the show?
Oh, Glenn Gordon Caron.
Glenn Gordon Caron. There's there's some interviews. I think it's like the television archive, and they do these long interviews with him where he talks about casting Bruce Willis, and
so he was like an unknown then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like he was taking Bruce, like he auditioned. I hear that cat. He auditioned like all these people, and then like, they saw Bruce Willis. He's like, that's the guy. And at one point during this, one point in the interview, he talks about that there was like some big Hollywood actor who the studio tried to get, and they didn't want him. It didn't really work out. He doesn't mention who it is, but I'm pretty sure he's talking about the actor Ray Sharkey. Remember that guy?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I remember reading years ago that Ray Sharkey was am I saying his name right?
Yeah,
I don't know who
Sharkey,
that is.
right?
Yeah, Ray Sharkey. Yeah,
he was an actor, and I believe he had AIDS. We should look that up to confirm that. But anyway, Ray Sharkey was supposed. I remember reading that he was supposed to be in Moonlighting, but he had issues. He wasn't very responsible, and they said, "Okay, forget it."
Wow.
Well, let me confirm that because just about Ray Sharkey.
So I didn't know that Moonlighting got created by that it was created by a writer that had worked on Remington Steele.
Oh, I used to love Remington Steele.
So basically,
know that.
Glenn Gordon Caron, who created the show, was a writer for Remington Steele and signed a deal with whoever produced the show at the time. Which actually, I think ABC actually produced it. It was one of the first TV shows where the network produced the show and owned it, which is weird because that's how all shows are now. And they said, we want a detective show. And he's like, well, I kind of want to do a romance. And they're like, we don't care as long as the detective show. And Remington Steele, very, very, very similar in tone and feel to Moonlighting.
And I think there was a crossover. There's an It's a Wonderful Life style episode, and I believe that Cybil Shepard, she ends up in the office of like Remington Steele.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and also they tie in Heart to Heart, another similar.
Oh, maybe
show.
it was Heart to Heart.
It was both.
It
was both.
Oh,
Okay.
so she was Jennifer Hart?
I don't know if she was Jennifer, but Max is in the episode.
He's like, hey, Cybil Shepard.
Yeah.
When they met, it was murder.
I'm correct about Ray Sharkey, but anyway, that's it. Okay.
Have you ever seen the Adam Scott and Amy Poehler and I think Horatio Sands did a shot-for-shot remake of the opening credits of Heart to Heart?
No.
It's amazing. And they put it side by side. It is shot for shot the opening credits.
This Miss H. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I saw one where it was like Adam Scott and like John Hamm, or wasn't that another one?
They may have, they did like 3 or 4. They were for Adult Swim a few years ago.
Yeah.
This Miss H. She's gorgeous.
Heart to Heart. Boy, that's a show that, like, where's that? Is that streaming anywhere?
I don't know.
It
I haven't
was
seen that in
on
years.
TV Land.
I bet you they
Did the
show it
TV
on like
still
the
around?
Decades channel or something like that.
The Decades
Yeah.
channel. I don't have that. I never heard of that.
Like,
It's
what
one
is
of those
that,
like
Tubi?
sub channels.
Or like Pluto TV, or one of those where you could have like, I bet there's a Heart to Heart channel on that.
Oh, it looks like it might be on Tubi.
Okay.
Oh.
This Johnson Hart. He's a lot of guy.
That's-
Could do that.
I think he says, that's my boss, Mr. Hot. He's loaded. That's his wife, Mrs. Hot. She's gorgeous. And when they met,
Tubi now.
it was murder.
It was murder.
Tubi. You can watch me or Bride of Reanimator on Tubi. So Moonlighting Strangers.
Yes. Shall we get into it?
Sure.
Yes.
Now,
When we get into Los Angeles, I have a Los Angeles history question.
Oh, okay.
now this was fun for me to watch this show just to see LA in the 80s.
Same. Same.
Sounds
It was
like
a lot of fun.
It might be time for my Los Angeles history.
Oh,
Should I
ask
ask it
now.
now?
Yeah, sure.
Well, have you guys ever heard of the secret highways in Los Angeles?
No.
I don't know.
Okay.
What does that mean?
I guess it's a myth. Well,
What-
I was reading a book. It's called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabriel Zevin. So I like this book very much. But it gets into it's most of it what I read so far takes place in Los Angeles, and they talk about there were the rumors of secret highways in Los Angeles, and I looked it up online tonight, and it says it does show up in some places that there were secret highways.
What does that mean? Secret high? I don't understand what that is.
I
How
don't
would
think
how would it
could
be a
even
secret?
real. I don't think it could be real, but I thought it was sort of like a mythology of Los Angeles, that there existed like these secret people would get from like one town to another really quickly. Well, how did they do it? Well, they took the secret highways, but then there were some people who believe the secret highways. This
Like,
might
would it be like
happening
the
in this book,
102, the 406?
I don't know.
Well, there.
The way they present it in this book. is
Wait.
kind of a cool
The reason
mythology.
I was sort of dumbfounded by what that meant, other than like an otherworldly explanation, is that there are stretches of road that just have like a street name but are kind of like a highway, and in many cases it's because it was going to be part of a highway, but then it just didn't get through that area of town because of ordinances or whatever, so they never completed the highway. Like Laurel Canyon was supposed to be a continuation of La Tierra down by the airport, which is kind of like a highway. Yeah, that was supposed to continue all the way over into the valley.
I'm so glad that didn't work out.
Yeah. But that would have gone right through West Hollywood, which does not have real easy access to a freeway.
No. But that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that didn't work out, because I love Laurel Canyon the way it is.
And it benefited music from the late 60s, early 70s. The whole sound.
Right. Exactly. The Laurel Canyon sound. All right.
Okay.
So this guy wakes up, and his name is Jonathan. And he's next to this woman. Now, I thought the wedding ring that she was wearing was going to be important. I was wrong.
I did notice the two watches right away, though, on the nightstand.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I didn't, which that was an important thing. So Jonathan goes jogging, and as he's jogging, we see a person with a mohawk, and he loads a gun, and he puts on a Walkman. Now, that actor was on the movie Grease, where he played Craterface.
Okay.
Oh.
And that was the person, when I moved to LA, the very first night that I was in town, I went to, there used to be this gay bar called The Rage in West Hollywood.
I think it's just Rage. I don't think it's The Rage.
Oh, Rage. It was called Rage.
Oh, I see him.
It was around until only like a few years ago. It's now called Heart, and it's owned by Lance Bass. But I went to Rage my very first night in LA, and I saw Craterface from Grease.
Okay.
Did you hang out with him?
I did not. I was more like, oh my gosh, I moved to LA and I saw a famous person immediately at a gay bar. He is no longer with us, this actor.
Yeah. He passed away in 1994, says.
Yeah. But that was my oh wow, I saw a celebrity my first time going out.
So his name is Dennis Stewart.
Okay.
Now,
That's it.
that Walkman looked very annoying.
Why do you say that?
Just because it looked like a lot of work, because it was bulky and the headphones were bulky.
Well, by today's standards, sure, but then that was really small and sleek. That was the selling point of that.
So I do love that everything's on the phone now. Because it's a lot less of a pain in the ass.
Yep.
Oh, and then he was jogging barefoot. So Jonathan's running down the park, and then Mohawk guy goes and starts jogging right next to him, and he's very uncomfortably close.
Yeah, I didn't understand why Jonathan didn't just like stop and let him get ahead. Like he ran for a while before he did that.
Yeah.
And the music, by the way, they were playing like some very new wavy 80s synthy music, which was very LA at the time.
Right. Now, so and he's so close to him that if that was because I jog, that would have been a fight. That would have been a fist fight.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would have just stopped because I'd be like, this is weird.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like the guy was basically like rubbing elbows with him.
Yeah. Like he should have just stopped and then waited for the invention of the cell phone to then pretend to be on it.
That would have been some pepper spray right there.
Well, he could have picked up one of those old like Wall Street cell phones, with the big giant antenna.
Yeah.
Right.
Could have been. That's comfortable to jog with.
And back then, wasn't even just that handset. It's when it was like the handset and the big like carrying. It was like a separate part that had all of the battery and everything in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you need that too.
Yeah. So then Jonathan is not smart because what does Jonathan do? Jonathan goes running into a tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when someone's harassing you like that, you don't go into a tunnel.
No.
You stay out in the public,
No tunnels.
near people. But stupid Jonathan goes in.
They just go in, chased in punk rock guy. Like punk rock guy, he got ahead of him, was in the tunnel first, and Jonathan like stands at the edge of it and like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So then he says, wait, who says I know? Jonathan says to the Mohawk guy, do I know you?
Yeah.
Then Jonathan starts running.
Gets squashed.
And he gets hit by a car.
Yes. Well, he goes running because Mohawk like pulled a gun on him. He's going to shoot him. Dead, but instead he got randomly killed by a car.
Right.
So punk rock goes over to him and takes one of the watches off of him.
Yeah. And leaves.
Yeah.
Runs away.
Then we cut to a fabulous house and pictures upon pictures upon pictures upon pictures upon pictures of Cybil Shepard. Every modeling thing, every magazine cover was on her wall. And I was like, I want to do that someday. Like have all my pictures on my bedroom wall. So Maddie wakes up, Cybil.
Maddie Hayes.
And I love her house. Her house is very 80s.
Yeah. At first, I couldn't tell what was inside or outside because that staircase looked like it was all outside. And I realized about halfway through the episode, that's the inside of the house.
Yeah. This was a fabulous 80s. Yeah. She was living her 1980s life. So we see this angry chef and he's throwing dishes. Mm-hmm. And he's speaking Italian, right?
Sure.
He wasn't speaking English.
He was smashing all kinds of things.
He's smashing stuff.
Well, they're checks bounced.
And yeah, because and the more I look at it, I wish there were, because like I liked these characters. I liked the chef and I liked she had a sassy maid.
Well, if this had been a half-hour sitcom, it wouldn't be a romantic dramedy. It would be like a sitcom about rich Madeline Hayes and all her servants who don't like her.
Right. Because, I liked the sassy maid a lot.
She had an assistant.
Yeah. And so I wrote here, I would have kicked Andre, because Andre was the chef. I would have kicked Andre's ass.
Yeah, I can't be doing that.
But Andre hadn't been paid in several weeks by this woman who's allegedly rich. I'd be pissed too.
Well, you don't smash everything.
So she calls her accountant on a landline.
Right.
There were so many things that were like, oh, a landline. I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Where it's actually clear, reception's clear.
And her accountant's phone was disconnected. Mm-hmm. And so then she was going to go to she was going to have her driver. So Maddie was filthy fucking rich then, because she was going to have her driver drive her to the accountant's office, but the driver quit. So,
and took the car.
Yeah.
So
I was wondering, what was she doing during that period of time too? She was just kind of hanging out, like just.
They established she had just gotten back into town from a gig, a modeling gig.
Oh, okay.
She had been gone several weeks. That's why she didn't know what was going on.
So she takes a cab, and she gets out of this cab in this very cute little cowboy number.
Oh, yeah. I called it a fabulous head to the accountant ensemble.
Yes.
Ooh.
Glasses and everything. But she goes to the accountant's office, and that fabulous outfit was wasted because that office was empty. So then she goes to her lawyer, and she finds out that the business managers took everything. But she had some investment. She had a bunch of different companies that she was invested in.
And they were all bought as write-offs. So all were designed, they knew they were money losers. That's why they invested in them, so they could use it as a tax write-off.
Right.
So how would that work? Now, I know a little bit about taxes, but I get a grasp on that. So one of them was a dirty bookstore, as he described it.
Yeah.
So this bookstore lost money, and that helped her with her.
Yeah, if it's part of her portfolio that she not only doesn't owe money on that, she might get more credit back because she's in the hole over there. Yeah, these were all write-offs. So that's why she owned this detective agency.
Oh,
this actually similar. Now I just realized it right now that the starting off point for this show is very similar to Schitt's Creek.
Well, I was thinking that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I was thinking that.
That's a weird investment, though, to actually buy a company that's losing money.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, though, she wasn't the mastermind in all this. Her business managers were the masterminds. And she probably was just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yep.
So and so then she was instructed to go to all of her companies and basically give them notice. Which that would have sucked.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that she owned was a detective agency. Now, this detective agency actually looked more like a telemarketing room, and it looked like it was actually doing pretty well.
Yep.
So,
although not that well, Mr. Pesto had a very, very, very lengthy greeting on the phone.
Yes.
Right.
And that's why we love her.
Yeah. And the name of the agency at this point in the show is the City of Angels Detective Agency.
Right.
Oh, yes.
And then I wrote here, I want to be a lady detective too. Because in my next life, I am going to come back as a lady detective.
Yeah. You should.
So, and then now whose Jaguar did she borrow? Because remember, she told someone
the lawyers.
Oh, the lawyer let her borrow it. Yeah,
because she told the lawyer, "Poor doesn't become me." So she goes to the detective agency, Dave Addison he's the boss. And like I said, I wrote, wow, Bruce Willis had a full head of hair. So,
well, the opening scene is him like talking on the phone, right?
Yeah.
And it's like they basically just imagine peak Bruce Willis, like the very rapid dialogue he became known for in the show. Imagine that at its peak, and they just like wound him up and let him go, and that's our introduction to him.
And I'm sure most of those lines were like improvised.
Yeah, maybe.
And then Maddie walks in and opens the door, and then a bucket falls on Miss DePesto's head.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And he said she looks very pale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that line from I had seen this before. I remembered as I was watching it, and I was like, I remember this line.
Now, I wrote here that I think one of the fights was that Cybil Shepard always had to have like a gauzy, like a filter on her face.
Yeah.
Like they're rubbing Vaseline on the lens, the camera lens, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think they did it with lighting, so they would have to have a stronger filter on the lights aimed at her versus the ones aimed at him.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah. And that was like a big thing because she really was a former model. So she did know about things like lighting and angles.
And she was already like quite famous before the show. Wasn't she in the Last Picture Show?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where she had the affair with Peter Bogdanovich.
Well, she did a few movies with Peter Bogdanovich, but she did 2 others that were big flops.
And was it like the Last Picture Show? Wasn't she like 17? Like
she was very young then. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then,
Taxi Driver, she's in that.
So then Bruce Willis is like, I know you from somewhere. Are you a playboy? Are you a playmate? And she gets pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And then she fires him. And then he says something, and I didn't know if this could happen today. She slapped him.
Well, she slapped him because he called her a cold bitch. This was in prime time in 1980. What year was this? 6, 5?
85.
Yeah.
85, yeah.
That was
after Dynasty. Dynasty, they were already saying bitch.
Oh, I guess I don't know. For some reason, hearing the lead character of this show calling the other lead character that struck me as really hard. I could not believe they did that.
I can't believe it's SNL had mentioned something about eating ass.
But that's like late night.
Still, it's like, okay, I didn't expect
I
that.
guess it really got me out of left field because it felt like you're degrading your female lead. It just felt very, very sexist. I know he's supposed to be a bit sexist, but it felt a little too harsh.
Right.
We also found out where he knew her from. Because she was a famous model, she was the face of Blue Moon shampoo.
Yes.
I thought it was interesting. They said that the agency had been in operation for 3 years. I thought, that might make for an interesting show. You get like a young actor to play a young David Addison, like running the agency for the first 3 years.
Oh, like a prequel. Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
And because it could be like how he found Miss DePesto.
That's another show that our production company can offer.
Because I'm sure like Miss DePesto was like a struggling actor.
And
this was like her day job.
Yeah, you get this young actress to play Miss DePesto.
Well, also, Glenn Gordon Caron is still with us. He's still very active as a writer and producer. That's actually a really good idea.
Glenn, call us.
Yes.
Yes.
A lifetime of Hallmark.
Yeah.
So then they shut the office down. And then we see Maddie. And she's on a date with a plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
Who's a dick.
Yeah.
You dick!
Nice. I wasn't thinking about that.
And like he's critiquing her face and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was funny though.
See, that couldn't happen today. That wouldn't happen.
I don't know.
I think the joke was this guy was so tone deaf in conversation that he didn't even know that he was like criticizing her in the moment. That's just his job.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was criticizing everybody.
So then we cut to like a family birthday party.
Yeah, it seemed out of the blue all of a sudden.
Yeah, and
It
like,
did.
And it was like a family, and then there was this grandpa, and he looked like a nice little old grandpa, and it was like a birthday party. But then he gets a call because Mohawk calls him, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, gotta go. But he totally looks like this nice little grandpa, which it turns out he's not.
No.
So then we're back at the restaurant. Now, this was very realistic because the doctor was eating lobster and he had this bib on, and Maddie was eating a salad. And I was like,
Okay.
yes, that's pretty much on point.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally once again forgot that this was before cell phones. So if you got a phone call, the maitre d' would have to come in and find you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So he says, the maitre d' comes and tells the doctor you have a phone call.
I like she says it. She goes, "I'll be here."
Right. So he goes to take his phone call, and David Addison shows up, and we find out that David Addison basically tricked, like he did a prank call to get the doctor away from the table.
Yeah.
And so Maddie's like, "Get away from me. I don't want to talk to you. You suck."
And he says, "Do birds fly?" No, what is it? Do birds fly? Do ducks duck?
Yeah.
I like it.
And so she goes to the bathroom and he follows her. But then we cut to the Mohawk man, and he's driving this janky car, but even though it was janky, it looked kind of cool at the same time.
Yeah, it looked very like something from the 60s.
Yeah. And then we see this guy drive up to him in a limo, and Mohawk man looks very scared.
Whenever they would do the scenes with Mohawk, it felt like it was in a completely different show. It had such a different energy than any of the scenes with Dave and Maddie, or even the scenes with like Jonathan before he dies. It just, punk rocker, they've got like the loudest, synthiest music. It just felt like another show.
Now this
Yeah,
next
like
part,
an action show.
I didn't understand, because he looked at the guy in the limo and he starts yelling, "Shut up! Shut up!"
Who was yelling at the punk rock guy?
Yeah, he's yelling, "Shut up! Shut up!" And I'm like, why is he yelling, "Shut up"?
I don't know. I guess they never
don't I
explained
remember
that
that?
really. What are our
'Cause it was
theories?
Like, I could see, like, "Get away from me! Go away! Leave me alone!" I could totally see that, but shut
He's like,
up!
"Shut
I'm
up."
like, why are you yelling, "Shut up"?
Maybe this episode of television was originally written as if it was a warning about mental illness, and then they
Maybe.
just decided to not get that deep into it because all the romance stuff was working.
Right.
Maybe. Could have been a preemptive strike. He knew they were going to say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Maddie comes out of the bathroom, and Dave is still bugging her.
Harassing.
And they talk about losing money, and she was like, "Well, you're supposed to lose money. That was the point of this business." Then we go back to the Mohawk and the man in the limo, and we have this car chase. And the car chase goes on for a very long time. And then we cut back to the restaurant, and the doctor is like, I gotta go, but the food's already paid for, so you might as well stay and eat it.
Of the original.
So, oh shit! Hold on a second.
Everyone cultured with it.
Ooh, what was that?
Yeah, what's going on over there? Les has stepped away again. What was that? Wait, he just like
He knows we're
looked at us
talking.
and then ran away.
He just smiled really big in the camera. He knows we're talking about him. What's he showing us? What?
What was that?
What were we looking at? Les, you need to unmute.
Something we don't know.
What was going on?
My TV was on pause. My TV was on pause, and out of the blue, my TV started.
Oh, because it only has that cue of like a certain amount of time it will record.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, wait, what's going on? So I went to turn the TV off, and then when I came back, I accidentally, because I'm on my phone, and I hit the thing that turns to the front of the camera. And so basically, I have my phone propped up on a plant. So you just saw like a flower pot.
Well,
Oh wow, it's complicated. So what was on TV? One of the awful Housewives shows, or
How dare you? It was the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. How dare you?
I pat myself on the back for guessing that right.
was this the episode where I still didn't give a fuck?
How dare the both of you?
So I'm not the only one.
How dare you? Anyway. So then we find out that they're at the Biltmore Hotel downtown.
Oh, is that where that was?
Yeah, because that was like those elevators for the longest time. People literally would go to the Biltmore just to go up and down those elevators, because they were the kind of elevators. They were glass elevators, and they looked outside. So as you were going up the building, it was basically like you were outside looking, going up the building.
Were they in a movie that was in some other movies?
Been a ton of movies.
Yeah,
some movie with Christopher Reeve where he kind of has like some kind of
is it Superman?
Panic attack. No, it was
Superman 2.
No, I don't remember.
Superman 3.
Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
Which one was the one with Richard Pryor?
No, that's Superman 3, but that's not what I'm talking about. All right, I've got to look at it, find it.
So they're going. So
Google.
So the Mohawk guy gets into one elevator, and then the other guys get in the other elevator.
The other guy, by the way, looked like an evil Bob Newhart.
He really did.
So it was well cast.
So it was like an elevator chase almost. So the elevators were going up really fast. So cool. Mohawk would be going up one floor, and then the evil Bob Newhart would be chasing him in the other elevator.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mohawk was really scared, so he'd start like hiding and stuff in the elevator. But it's like
it's a glass elevator.
In there.
It's a glass elevator.
Right.
He knows you're in there. You can see the elevators moving, and you're not really hiding by anything.
Right. You're not fooling anybody.
Yeah.
I think the movie I'm thinking of is Switching Channels.
Uh-huh.
From 1988.
Starring Christopher Reeve. Got it.
Kathleen Turner, Burt Reynolds, and Christopher Reeve.
Oh, that's a cast.
Oh, wow.
I think that's one.
So then the Mohawk guy has a knife, of course. Because I guess they're saying he's punk rock. He wouldn't have a gun. Oh, no, that's right. He actually did have a gun. I take that back. But he had a knife in this one, in the elevator. And so Dave and Maddie are actually waiting at the elevator to leave, and the elevator door opens, and the Mohawk man drops dead.
With the knife in his back. And then when they cut to Grandpa from earlier looking on.
Yes.
Oh, grandpa was around. I would see guys like this in New York, where they're like the older guys, and they're still punk rock. They're still holding on to it.
Oh, I've seen a few.
Oh, you see a ton of that here in West Hollywood.
Especially at the gym.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm also right below the Sunset Strip where I live. So, you know, all the like old rockers, be it punk rock or like, you know, hair band guys, you see a lot of old dudes from that era walking around. Yeah. Still holding on.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be judgmental, but it doesn't look great. I mean, the punk rock look, you if you're not young, something's off.
Oh, go ahead, Les. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, you see the punk rock guy and he's like 80, but he's blonde.
I used to make fun of that and thought the same thing, but maybe it's because I'm older myself now, but I'm like, well, there weren't guys that dressed like that when they were young, so it seems odd to us, but like, you know, everyone grows up at some point and they're just sort of an older version of the person they always were, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Or wasn't that basically like probably the time like their peak look?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I admire because most of their punk rock friends probably aren't looking punk rock anymore, and they're probably the one that is. They're in their 60s.
Hey man, I'm single. I didn't have kids.
Yeah, and they're walking around with a mohawk, and it's like, okay.
There's shades of that in pretty much every community, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Like we have, you know, gay guys around WeHo that are like 65 and still wearing booty shorts on the boulevard. Good for them.
Mm-hmm. Booty shorts and going, he's 22. I don't understand why he doesn't want me.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
Yeah.
Because he's 22. That's why. And just to be clear, I'm not hating on guys who go for 22-year-olds. That's fine, but it's like, you know, don't be shocked if the 22-year-old isn't necessarily interested.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, that took a turn.
Yeah. Anyway. I mean, I'm at an age now where actually the ones that hit on me the most are the younger ones. It's the ones that like I feel are age appropriate. They're usually not interested. These really young ones come up to me. I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
They're like, hey. Oh, so a news crew shows up and Mary Hart shows up.
Mm-hmm. Wow, this is another segue. A left turn, even though we're on track.
Well, you want to hear something funny? I once met Mary Hart in an elevator.
Oh. Wow, we're talking about elevators.
No, I had a full-on conversation with her.
Was it about how her legs were insured?
No, it was about I was going to a dinner party, and so it was like a potluck thing, and I had some food, and so she's like, "Oh, so what are we eating?" And we started talking about the food.
Wow.
Remember, there was a woman who went into like convulsions whenever she heard Mary Hart's voice.
Oh, I do sort of remember that story. Yeah,
there was some story years ago that this woman went to like, you know, she had like she has like epilepsy, but it was always spurred on when she heard Mary Hart's voice.
Oh, so she'd hear like ba-na-na-na-na-na, and it's like, okay, get ready, it's gonna happen.
She heard that was her warning. Apparently, Mary Hart became like a stand-up comedian for like a week.
Yeah,
that was part of her.
She was a patient of a neurologist in New York who discovered that the woman would develop queasiness in the head and stomach, and then blanked out and suffered confusion when she regained consciousness whenever she listened to Mary Hart's voice.
So that when she like wake up. Would she wake up and it would go
that was her warning. You can find Mary Hart on YouTube also singing Footloose.
Who, Mary Hart?
Yeah, she used to go around singing Footloose.
I have heard that she is like super MAGA now.
Yes, and it's funny that you say that because I was all happy that I met Mary Hart until I found out that she was like super duper MAGA, and I was disappointed because I was like, she was so nice. I'm switching rooms. My husband's at home.
Okay.
But I was like, she's so nice.
Les is making his way around.
I know, right?
Now he's like backed into a corner.
No, I'm in a different bedroom.
Okay.
I'm in a different
Very
room.
hard is tonight.
So anyway, no, so yeah, I was disappointed though because she was like so nice, and then I found out that she was super duper MAGA, and I was like, damn, I liked her.
How would we even know that?
Usually people that are pretty vocal about it. So if she, I don't know that she is, but somebody told me that, and they're like, oh yeah, she posts her on such and such all the time. I feel like, so I don't know if it's true. If it's not, I apologize, Mary, or don't apologize if you're happy about it. I'm just saying I don't know whether or not that is a fact.
Yeah, I heard.
Mary, heart to heart.
And Mary, if you want to come on and talk about it and let us know, you're more than welcome to.
Unless you're MAGA, then you can fuck off.
That's okay. We don't need that. That's okay, Mary. We're waiting for the kid from the Tortellis.
Look, if it's a choice between talking to some MAGA crazy or the kid that shit his pants on Tortellis, I'm picking the shit kid every day.
Right.
I honestly don't know what I would talk to Mary Hart about, but the Tortellis kid, I've got a full arsenal.
Well, we would talk to her
So
about her
did he.
lives.
We talked to Mary Hart about the Tortellis kid.
Right. Hey, she probably interviewed him back in the day.
From now on, every guest we have on the show, we have to ask them about the Tortellis kid.
Right.
What's your take on the
Thomas.
kid?
Oh, so Dave told Mary Hart that they were opening a detective agency.
Mm-hmm.
And Maddie was not happy about this. But then we end up back at Maddie's house, and she said something, and we realized that all of this shit happened in one day. Like this whole thing that went down, it happened in one day.
Mm-hmm.
I was struck by that as well.
I was like, that was a busy day.
I've had some busy days.
So they're at Maddie's 80s house, and then this guy shows up and he has a gun in Dave's back, and then this other guy has a knife to Maddie's throat.
Yeah, it was EVIL Bob Newhart and somebody else.
Yeah.
A guy that looked a lot like Jonathan from earlier, so I was confused for a bit.
Yeah.
No, the blonde guy from Die Hard.
Who had very big lips.
That wasn't the same guy, but
I noticed
similar.
he had very big lips, and this was before collagen injection, so those were his lips.
I feel like there were a lot of German bad guys up until like the 80s.
Because wasn't that, and even through the 80s, wasn't that kind of a thing? That was like a type.
Yeah, well, I generally the villains, generic villains in shows and movies tend to be whatever the villain du jour is. And so, after World War II, Germany was the villain for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, but then at the end of this, we find out it makes sense that they were German.
Yeah. Because they all ate schnitzel.
It's so funny because I was just at my college reunion. I went to college in Germany, and I was just at my college reunion over the weekend because we had it in New Orleans, and we spent the weekend in New Orleans. They were having an Oktoberfest.
Oh yeah, I bet that'd be fun.
Oh, that's another thing. Something I want to bring up. Les knows like 1,000 people in New Orleans.
Well, because my dad is from there.
Different picture. Okay.
Oh, so
I was
that
with you in New Orleans once.
So that was my college reunion. So.
Oh, okay. So
that's why there were like thousands of people. But my dad is from New Orleans, and so I have like over half of my family lives there. So that's why when I went a day early so I could visit with my relatives and get it out of the way.
Yeah.
I was with you in New Orleans once.
Yes, you were. That was before I was in. So my dad's estranged from his family. So when I was in New Orleans with you, I hadn't come in contact with them yet. But now I am.
We're doing the New Orleans Fringe Festival.
And I'm going back to New Orleans in like a month. I'm going back for Thanksgiving.
But getting back to Nazis.
Oh, anyway.
Getting back to Nazis. Can I ask a question? I know this makes me sound ignorant, but it might be funny. I do actually wonder this. In Germany, when they have like a ruler, you know, like we have like those rulers with or like a milk carton and it has like all the presidents on it. Do they have like a little like a kid's ruler with presidents and it's got Hitler on it?
No.
You can't pretend it didn't happen.
No, but it's more of like when you talk, because people talk about it there, but they're very ashamed of it.
Here's the thing, though. You know, we're talking about this 80 years after it all ended. I don't know that in the moment, right after Hitler was out, that the entire country was on board with, get rid of that fucker.
Mm-hmm.
We're living through a similar time here.
Right.
Yeah, many years in the rearview mirror, they can all be like, oh, yeah, that's a dark part of our history. But not everyone feels that way in the moment when it's happening.
Uh-huh.
But so I'm showing my ignorance of world history. But so we've had presidents all these years in the other different parties. Germany, I think, like the head of their government isn't always consistent, right? It's not the same.
But also Hitler,
it's not like their
took
president
over.
Right.
He was a dictator. So that was, it was he took the country over.
Right. So what do they have today in Germany? Is there a
Chancellor.
president of Germany?
Yep. Chancellor.
Yes.
Okay.
You've heard of Angela Merkel?
No.
You've never heard of Angela Merkel? You watch SNL. Kate McKinnon would play her.
Oh.
It's spelled Angela, but it's pronounced Angela.
No. Maybe I have. That sounds kind of familiar.
Oh my God. But speaking of Kate
I know who
McKinnon,
Kate McKinnon is.
on my flight to New Orleans, I watched a stupid Kate McKinnon movie. It was pretty stupid, but I liked it.
What was it?
What was this?
Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar.
Oh, no,
whatever.
that's Kristen Wiig.
Oh, Kristen. Oh, wait. Who did you say?
I said Kate McKinnon.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Kate.
Oh, Barb and Star is great. It's really funny, but I know you're sober, but that's a movie that if you smoke pot or do shrooms, you will be very happy during that movie.
I could see. Well, I liked Yo-Yo. Her little sidekick Yo-Yo.
Yeah.
Oh no, I could totally see how if you were stoned,
And Jamie Dornan is really funny in it.
Jamie Dornan was really hot in it.
Well, he's hot in everything.
Do you know the movie?
There's no world history questions. I do know what that movie is. I've never seen it, but it looks. I've heard it's funny.
Yes.
I know about Barb and Star. It's a world history thing. I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But hey, that's why you ask questions. I'm not afraid to ask questions that make me look ridiculous.
I like how we got from talking about world history and Nazis to suddenly we're talking about Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar.
And there's barely a transition. It's like you could hardly take a breath between.
Kate McKinnon was the glue. It led Les to think about Kristen Wiig.
Kate McKinnon also ran me over one time. I was walking through New York and it was her. And there was a crew, like a camera crew around her, like just this pack of people, like 5 people. And they were, if I had stood in the way, they would have flattened me out like like I was Wile E. Coyote. Man, all right, let's get back on track. After that, at some point, I got to go to bed.
Oh, so anyway, they were like, "Who are you?" to Bob Newhart. And he's like, I'm a businessman. And then he was not messing around, evil Bob Newhart.
I'm an inn owner in Vermont.
Right? Stephanie,
you should wear more sweaters.
Yeah.
But evil Bob Newhart was not messing around because he turned on the stove and he was gonna like burn them.
You know what I found least believable about this scene?
What
is that Maddie Hayes, as rich as she was, would have an electric stovetop?
Now I didn't live in the States at that time. So was that not?
Well, I actually don't know. So, no, you had them everywhere. I just know since moving to LA that it's considered a little bit better to have gas. It's a better, like, it cooks more evenly apparently, and so people with money tend to want a gas stove. But maybe back then that wasn't the selling point of the stove.
Well, is it always an option? The house might not be.
No, it's not always an option. Depends on where you live.
I don't think so.
But I loved this scene because at one point Dave and Maddie actually fought back and she bit the guy and that's how she got the gun away from him. Mm-hmm. But then she just started randomly shooting the gun and the gun only had 6 shots and then it was done.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb. I mean, it was good for the it was a good dramatic thing, but she was just like shooting randomly.
And this guy is like, so the whole reason the guy was looking for the watch. And so like after the shooting thing, then he took up and he was going to burn them. And I like how Cybil Shepard's Southern accent came out when he was going to burn her. And she's like, no, I gave the watch to the police. I really did.
Well, you can hear Bruce's New Jersey accent here and there.
So the guy was looking for the watch. She says that she gave it to the cops. So the guy believed them. And he's like, well, if you're lying, I'm going to be back. And then it turned out Dave switched the watches. So he really did have the watch.
David did. And you cut it a little bit there. Yeah, David had the watch.
Yeah. And so Cybil Shepard was... go ahead.
Oh, no, he called her a fluffball, but she called him a sissy fighter.
Yes.
Yeah, there are things that are problematic all throughout this episode.
Yes.
A couple things.
And she kept on saying it, too.
Mm-hmm.
She said he didn't fight. He said he kind of punched with his wrist. He didn't put his whole self into it. And then she punches him in the face.
Yeah.
She said, that's how you throw a punch.
So then they decide that it wasn't safe for them to go to her house. So they went to sleep in the detective's office. Mm-hmm. And so then like he gives her an office because I guess both offices have couches in them. So he gives her an office and then she's like, well, I'm surprised that you didn't try to take me back to your place.
Mm.
And then he's like, well, would you have gone? And so this was the beginning of the chemistry.
The push and pull.
Mm-hmm.
So then she's asking him if he has a plan to solve everything. And then she's and then he starts playing the harmonica. He plays Blue Moon on the harmonica, which the harmonica turned out to be his thing.
Yeah.
Because when he later had an album, he played the harmonica.
Well, in fact, because the show premiered in the spring. It was a 2-hour TV movie in the spring and then premiered as a series in the fall of that year.
Uh-huh.
So this aired in March, and then the next episode didn't air until like September, October. And so in this episode, Al Jarreau doesn't do the theme song. It's just a harmonica.
Right. And so then we go to the pawn shop.
Yeah.
They take the watch to the pawn shop, and the pawnbroker is like, this watch is only worth $3. But then he opens the watch up, and the watch has like numbers in it.
Yeah, there's numbers etched in the back. There's no like mechanical parts to the watch.
And I like that. I like how like the the pawn owner was improvising gum chewing.
Improvising gum chewing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Chew
are.
on his cheeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can give you like $3 for this.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was like his character choice.
I was just chewing on my own cheeks, which does wonders for audio.
Do you think the boy from the Tortellis that he was actually like a really, really competent actor, and he made the choice of like, I'm gonna make it look like I'm shitting my pants,
Right.
and I'm gonna be method and just do it.
He's never, because any random spot he picks of this episode, we're talking about him. I was hoping there'd be some little
Come on
stretch.
and defend yourself.
Yeah, he's gonna defend himself. He's never gonna answer my email. He's gonna block me.
So then Dave and Maddie leave.
Defend himself the way he used to soil himself.
He was 4. Oh,
We've talked about it 2 full episodes. He needs to come on.
I want to do a spin-off podcast just talking about that kid.
I'm starting to feel bad for this kid.
what was his name? Mark. His character name was named Mark. Little Mark.
And I was present. I was present when someone said he shit his pants.
You were present because you were the one that said it.
You were the one that said it.
You started this.
Well, I'm starting to feel bad for this kid now.
So then the pawnbroker. So the old man. The old
He's a
German
Nazi.
man shows up.
All right, did you just call the little boy a Nazi?
No, I said the old man is a Nazi.
Oh,
The old man's a Nazi.
Jeez. He's Jason. God.
that boy
Yeah,
may
it
have
turns
been.
out-
That could have been a character choice too.
Because it turns out that the whole thing about this watch is that
No.
these Nazis, they like
There's going to be a legitimate lawsuit going on. We can get that with the woman who's representing herself to represent us.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'll be
so
quiet.
it turned out that this whole thing was because of Nazis and diamonds.
Yeah.
Oh, because they found this out. So basically, so they go to the pawn shop. The old man stabs the pawnbroker, and these old ladies come in that wanted to buy a brooch.
Yeah.
They go, Jonathan, the guy who was killed in the beginning, they go to see his widow who lives in this awful looking apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
And she's drinking cocktails, and she tells Dave and Maddie a story about how her father-in-law said that he stole diamonds from the Nazis.
Yeah, $4 million worth of diamonds, which would be $4 million in 1985. Today would be $11,441,970.26.
And so she said that her husband always wore 2 watches. And so hence the 2 watches that Jason, that you noticed at the beginning of the show.
I thought he was just like a precursor to Flavor Flav.
Right. So
The big clock.
So then Dave and Maddie get back in the car after talking to this woman. So then the woman also said that someone called her husband and offered him $5,000 for the watch.
Which today, $5,000 would be the equivalent of $14,302.46.
Wow.
So Dave and Maddie get back in the car, and Dave looks in the rearview mirror and notices that EVIL Bob Newhart is dead in the back seat. And so he's like, don't look. And so then after this, Maddie's like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm going to the Bel Air Hotel and I'm sleeping there. And then she asks Dave, did you really think I was cold? And then she tells him that she actually did have fun with him. So then even though we thought that the office had packed up and moved out, the next day the office is in full swing.
Yeah. Bustling.
And
And they're painting a sign on the door that says Blue Moon Detective Agency.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But so I guess when the season started, they probably made it a change, and instead of having it be like a full office, just had it be a small operation.
Yeah, that's true. This was a much bigger space than the show became, which made more sense because they were supposed to be scrappy.
Yeah. And so Mr. Pesto answers the phone, and then Maddie comes walking in and yells at David. And then all of a sudden, they are at the building that's near the Wiltern. Wait, is that near the Wiltern? It's on Wilshire and Western, right?
Oh, that's not. Yeah, that is near the Wiltern then. If it's Wilshire and Western,
Also, he also figured out that the numbers were longitude and latitude.
Right.
But I don't think that building's near the Wiltern. I think that building's downtown.
Is it?
Yeah. You can if you go to Perch, that restaurant there where you can like be on the roof, it's like right by there.
So they realize it's a clock, and they go climbing up the clock, and Maddie literally climbs up the clock, and she's like on the number.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
She's hanging off of the hour arm.
Yeah. And then something happens, and she kicks this glass, and a bag of diamonds falls out.
Mm-hmm.
And then she ends up on a ladder, and she's hanging on this ladder, and she's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then Dave helps her, and then they turn into diamonds, right?
Well, Dave helps her, then Grandpa shows up.
The Nazi guy.
Right.
And so the Nazi guy almost gets the diamonds. Maddie throws them to David, who's now back out on the ladder. So then Grandpa climbs on the ladder. Then the ladder kind of like falls, but still somehow they don't plummet to their death just yet. Then Grandpa eventually falls. The diamonds fall too.
Yeah, because it rips.
Yeah.
He's like holding on to it. It rips.
You see the diamonds like smacking him in the face.
Right. But then Dave saves Maddie. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, hey, let's have a TV series.
Famously breaking the fourth wall like the show was known to do.
Let's have a TV series.
They didn't break the fourth wall yet.
Well, actually, they didn't break the fourth wall, but they were knocking at the door with the way they ended the episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if they had the end on it, it would have had the end with a question mark.
Well, he calls all the reporters and all that, just like he called Mary Hart earlier.
Yeah.
Right.
How does he have her number?
I know, right? And that's how Moonlighting was born.
Moonlight.
I actually really enjoyed this.
I did. I had watched it. I told you guys before. I watched this probably a couple of years ago now, but I did revisit this. It was up on YouTube.
I enjoyed parts of this, but overall, I was a little bored. I mean, it just doesn't move at the pace that stuff does today. I thought that some of the way it was cut together was sort of jarring at times. And I just hated how wildly sexist it was. I didn't even really get it back in the day. But now I'm like, wow, like this is Cybil Shepard's show. Bruce Willis is new here. And they still have him like insulting her left and right. She can't do anything for herself. He has to do everything. And I just thought that was really gross. And they could have done
She was no Charlie's Angels.
Like, she didn't have to be Charlie's Angels, but they could have made it.
But she does all the climbing.
She does. That's like the only time, and it's never really acknowledged that she was the one being braver there. I don't know. It just made her look completely hapless without him.
Well,
yeah, that's why she was mad.
But the chemistry between them is like it's undeniable. He's such a star from moment one.
And I was like, damn, he was sexy back then.
Yeah.
Well, I still thought as an older man, he was sexy. But back then I was like, I mean, looking at that, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it.
Yeah, I know. I love the show when I was a kid. I loved David Addison.
Yeah.
But then it also like made me a little sad just to think like now, because since he's suffering with dementia, I was kind of just sad, like fuck dementia.
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%. I mean, it is sad, but it's also, it's happy to think that he had so many great performances that showed so many colors of him that we still have that to look back on.
Oh yeah.
And to remember him by.
Yeah,
and
so
he is still
there's
with
this-
us.
yeah.
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
There's a sadness to it in a way because it's a bygone era, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly, because it was a show that I liked a lot. I haven't watched any more episodes.
I would love someday to watch the Whoopi Goldberg one.
I remember really, really liking that one. Yeah.
I don't remember the plot. I remember watching it. I don't remember anything about it other than that she was on
And I
it.
think it was one of these situations like she went on because like she and Bruce Willis were friends. And then that was like when Whoopi Goldberg was first becoming Whoopi Goldberg.
Had they done a movie together or something?
Yeah.
Did they?
I
know they
don't
were
think
friends.
so. No.
And like this was like at peak Whoopi Goldberg. I wonder, did they do a movie?
I don't think so. Unless she was like in the player.
Oh yeah, they in the player, which was after Moonlighting. Yeah, that was the only one.
Was she in the player?
Yeah.
Oh, she was in the player.
Yeah.
That's right. She was the police. She was one of the police. Yeah.
But yeah, I think at the time they were just friends.
They didn't share a scene in the player. That was a cool movie.
That
I went to see that.
Whoopi would become.
I still like Whoopi.
No, I do too.
Yeah.
I like Whoopi because Whoopi does not give a fuck. She does not care.
No.
She says whatever she feels like saying.
If I ever met Whoopi, I would tell her. I say, I don't care how many people have told you this, but Ghost, like her performance in Ghost, is so great. She's probably heard it 1,000 times. I say, oh my god. Like I watch her scenes on YouTube sometimes.
I don't think anybody gets sick of being told how great they were.
I don't.
Yeah. And she'd probably like offer you an edible or something. Anyway, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
I know. It's been a well-rounded episode.
It really has. We've had world history and
Newhart,
yeah, just runs the gamut.
right? But if you want to find me, you can find me on my website, LesKirkendallBarrett.com. Jason.
Oda Mae Brown. If you want to find all of us, we are on at Lifetime of Hallmark Podcast on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. Please rate and review the podcast wherever you listen to us. Give us 5 stars. It helps other people find the show. And you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Big Shot Jason. Kurt.
Oh, I can't wait to see the description of this show. And there was a description of another show saying that I went to a gay bar and I went to a gay restaurant.
How dare you?
Did they serve alcohol?
Like-
Did they have a liquor license?
Did they have mimosas?
Did they? Yeah, they may
Kurt,
have.
it was a gay brunch. You know they had mimosas.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything to prove. That's fine either way. I don't. It's fine. I'm an ally. I don't have anything to promote.
Where can people find you, Kurt?
Oh, here, KurtFitzpatrick.com. KurtFitzpatrick.com. You could look at that.
Also,
Kurt doesn't want to be bothered with your nonsense on social media.
Well, I'm not
That's
really on it
funny.
that much, and I don't. Am I ever
Look
going to get
here.
into it? I'm never gonna get I gotta start a TikTok. Yeah.
Oh, listen. If you're gonna be in New York on November 9th, I will be doing a one-night only performance of my show, The Real Black Swan: Confessions of America's First Black Drag Queen, as part of the Gotham Storytelling Festival. And if you want more information, you could go to frigidfest.org.
Oh, if all goes well, I'll be in the Rogue Festival in Fresno in March.
I thought you were in.
I am in. I said I'm in it. Yeah. Well, if all goes well, and if all goes well leading up to it, yeah, I'll be there.
And yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, that is it.
So yeah, I'm starving, so I'm gonna go eat. So I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.